Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. If you are new here, this is Live Your Legacy with Chelsea Quint, and I am Chelsea Quint. And today I want to have a chat, a deep and meaningful, if you will, maybe a little bit of a come to Jesus moment around something that the vast majority of us, business owners, entrepreneurs, aspiring business owners, established business owners, we need to have a chat about something that is getting in the way of most of us sharing our work, our messages, our art in a way that is as impactful and magnetic and world-shaping, culture-changing as it is meant to be and as it can be. So, as is often my style, we're going to be just kind of, we're in a conversation. Whenever I'm in these spaces, like to imagine that I am just sitting here chatting with you. You could be across the screen from me right now. And along that vein, if there are any moments where you're like, you want to respond, then please do. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, send me an email, chelsea@chelseaquint.com, and let's close the loop on this conversation, because that's how it feels to me. And if it feels that way to you, let's chat. So we've got to start by going back to your schooling days. Whatever time in your life you were in school, or maybe not even school, but if there's any other, life experiences, phases of your life when you have been in the position to get assignments that had deadlines or due dates, we're going back to those days. And I want to start with a question for you around how you interacted with, I suppose, those assignments. So for me, I'm thinking back to high school, college, even grad school. I did this too. I am thinking back, and whenever I was assigned a paper, a project, I did a lot of writing in my academic days, and so for me, it was most often papers. Whenever I got an assignment, it didn't matter if I got the assignment at the beginning of the semester or the beginning of the year, and I had months to work on it, or I was given 2 weeks to work on a paper. No matter what, I waited until the last minute, the night before, usually the day before, the night before, and would stay up late, pull an all-nighter, and manage to turn something in. I always got something in, but I would always manage to get a good enough grade. My metric for what good enough meant was, did I get an A? Now, we're working off of my memory, and I don't think it's really here nor there. Honesty is such a core value to me that I'm like, now thinking back to it, did I ever not get an A so I could make sure to be honest with you? From my memory, I always got A's. There was a history teacher who hated me, so one project she just flunked me for, and then I petitioned it and it got brought back up. But by and large, I think I am telling you the truth based on my memory, and none of this is that much of a big deal. So the first question is, were you someone who waited until the last minute to write your paper, research your paper, complete your assignment, study for your test, whatever the thing is? If you were, there's a good chance that you are still doing that same type of thing. You're falling into that same pattern inside of your business. And this is the thing that is like drastically reducing the potency and magic of your work drastically. And this is relevant to you, I would argue, even if you haven't started your business yet. If you're in the space where you're still working your job and maybe you have the sort of the business on the side, or you're working on the website, you're thinking about it, you've got plans, you've got your quit date set or whatever it is, chances are you're still doing that even if you haven't officially started the business yet. The act of not officially starting the business yet, not moving forward on the things, waiting to the last minute to write the copy, write the sales page, do the pitch, whatever, this is all falling into the same pattern. And it's keeping you in the shallow end of your gifts. I said that the other day in a stream of consciousness riff. I think I was on TikTok, and I said that, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. By waiting until the last moment to make your art, your work, your content, your website, your offer, your sales page, you are staying in the shallow end of your gifts. How does that feel in your body? Is there a truth? What is that landing on? I'd like this to be a nervous system regulated podcast listening situation. And one where you don't just say, yes, Chelsea is right, so I will listen to everything. No, like, you have your thoughts and your experiences, and I want them to be honored and be present here. So when you hear that, does it feel true to you? Is there a resonance? Do you see yourself in that statement? When you procrastinate, when you put your work off until the last minute, when you refuse to plan, you are staying in the shallow end of your gifts. It feels hella true for me. And it makes a lot of sense if we're looking at the nervous system situation, right? A big part of your brain and body's job that you can't take away from it. You can't like evolutionarily change it. You can't do that. A big part of your brain and body's job is to keep you safe, which we can also translate into a big part of your brain and body's job is to keep you complacent. It is to keep you comfortable. Even if comfortable is in a job that you hate, like maybe you're not getting paid enough, you don't have enough autonomy, you're not able to be creative enough, but it's familiar. It's not risky, doesn't require putting yourself out there and potentially exposing yourself to rejection. It at least consistently pays you, right? Like, even if we can sort of logically say, here are all the reasons why it's not comfortable, your body gets comfortable in what is known. Comfortable to your body equals, is it familiar? Is it known? And so it doesn't really matter as much if it is like objectively comfortable. It matters, is it familiar and known to your body? If yes, then your body is going to have a predisposition to keep you there and hold you in that space. So it makes a lot of sense that you'd stay in the shallow end. Because if you're in the shallow end, then it's going to stay manageable. The business isn't going to get too big. It's not going to grow too fast. You're not putting yourself too far out there. You're not creating the work that is going to get you, 10,000 followers in 48 hours on TikTok, which can happen. Like, that's a thing that happens, right? All of a sudden, having 1 million people see something you made, see your face, see your work, read your words, listen to your words, watch your videos, that happens. And it is really taxing on your nervous system, even if it's 100 people, if it's a smaller virality, right? These things are big stretches for your nervous system. Even if part of you wants them, they're still big stretches. And I was actually talking with one of my best friends recently who's recently been blowing up and gone viral on TikTok, which is very exciting. And it's really taxing. And so we actually sort of talked through a lot of really important reminders around how that kind of work, that kind of experience makes us feel like we have to suddenly change ourselves. And how do I do this? And how do I capitalize on it? And it brings up scarcity. It brings up all this stuff. This is why nervous system regulation work is so important, because when you're able to regulate your nervous system, you're able to realize I can still access my logic, I can still access my creativity, I can access all of the goodness of my frontal lobe, and you realize all there is to do when you go viral, when your audience blows up, when the launch goes really well, when people love what you're saying, is to maybe check your strategy, maybe check in with your goals, maybe collaborate with, if you have an operations partner, if you have a business partner, if you have a business coach, if you have a friend who happens to be a business coach, check in with, what goals do I have and how can I align this? But by and large, the work is to continue doing your work. Which is why it's so easy to get it twisted, because it's so simple, which is hard for us. It's hard. It's hard when it's simple. It's hard not to make it complicated, because if you make it complicated, you can still avoid it. You can still avoid doing the work. Okay, that was a little bit of a tangent, but it felt important, and I hope it was useful to you. So it makes all the sense in the world to stay shallow, because if you stay shallow, you're operating in the space of what you learned in school, which is like, okay, there's this set parameter of if I do A, B, C, follow this rubric, follow this template, it's going to be good enough. And good enough means I'll get the A, I'll get the B, whatever the grades were for you. Like, I'll get the thing, and that's fine. I pass, I'll move forward. Maybe I'll go and do a good school, get a good job, I'm doing enough. But that metric, that bar of I'm doing just enough to pass, just enough to get the grade, there is no artistry in that process. Maybe the artistry of working the system, okay. But there's no artistry in that. There's no mastery in that approach. And if you are here listening to this, watching this, there's a solid chance that you're at least somewhat attracted to the idea of living and leaving a legacy behind. Dramatic pause while I sip my seltzer and crayon. There's a decent chance that you're into the idea of a legacy. Doing just enough to get the A might keep you safe and comfortable. It's not going to help you make something that is art, that is revolutionary, that is impactful to the point that you are top of mind in your industry. It's not going to get you remembered. It's not going to get you super visible, super seen. It's just not. It's not going to have that bigness and that charge, because you're not approaching it from the space of artistry and mastery and discipline. You're approaching it from the space of how can I do just enough to get the grade, to get the sale, to get the whatever. And that's also when, we're already, if you're in that space, I've been there. We're not in a judgment. No judgment here. But if you're in that space, you're also stepping closer and closer and closer to burnout because your work is going to feel so fucking dry to you. It's going to feel so sticky and kind of like, ugh, it's like fine. And it's like, yeah, it's there and it's content. And I did the marketing, but it's not going to be the thing that like lights you up, that turns you on. It's not going to be the thing that you're like, oh my God, can I show you this? It's not going to be the thing of yours that you want to like go back and watch or read over and over again because you're like, I made this. I love this. And because it's not going to feel that way to you, it's also, it might get you good enough results because we also need to name that odds are your version of like phoning it in, doing just enough to get the grade, like it's still enough to get an A. It's still enough. It's good enough. Which is why this thing is so, like, so dangerous, honestly. Because you're going to get some results, but you're not going to be getting the level of results that you could be. The level of influence in your industry, the level of changing culture, the level of impact, the level of money and affluence, the level of opportunities of people reaching out and wanting to interview or wanting you to be a guest speaker. Those things require more work. They require more time to think. They require a more creative process. They require deep work. And if you've been here for a while, you know that I also believe and teach that deep work requires deep rest. So it is going to require you to likely change the way you work and change the way that you think about working. Because creating your Instagram posts or your TikToks, TikTok is actually kind of an anomaly. It's not an anomaly. It's part of the way the platform is designed. But it works well on TikTok to be more extemporaneous and record in the moment. It's not required, but that does work well for a lot of folks. But not having a plan, a structure, a system in place, not making space for yourself to just sit and read and process and think without needing to immediately turn it into content, like not having any of that spaciousness and structure for yourself is going to keep you in the shallow end. To have massive impact, massive legacy, and like somewhat massive wealth, but honestly, you can phone it in and still make a lot of money. It's just if you make a lot of money playing in the shallow end, you're still going to feel shitty. At least if you're here. Not everyone, I don't think everyone is going to feel shitty. I feel very confident. I think Jeff Bezos, I don't know. I have no idea what his life is like. But you are not Jeff Bezos. And I think you are going to feel not good, not fulfilled, not satisfied if you make a ton of money from the shallow end. So all of this, and so many other reasons, is why I created the Deep Staycation Retreat, because the folks who I work with, you, are folks who are you're either the only person inside of your business. So you are the marketer, you make all of the content, you make all of the products, you design all of the products, you make all the services, you deliver everything, you like ship it, show up for it, schedule it, whatever. It's either you do all of that, you do everything, or you have some support. So maybe you have, people who work for you, you have someone who helps with operations, you have someone who helps with delivery, you have like someone who works for you hourly or monthly. Maybe you have a virtual assistant and a regular assistant, whatever. But you're still the only one who is holding the big vision, is the creative behind the business. And whichever of those categories you fall into, odds are you get sucked into the day-to-day of a client needs this. I have to send this order. I have to send an email today. Oh shit, did I post on Instagram? Did I remember to update our Pinterest feed? Have I responded to that podcast interview? Oh, I have this partnership happening. Oh, I need to respond to that client. Here's this task, right? Odds are all of those things, plus all of the how do I take care of my mental health, my physical health, I have to take care of my pets, my kids, my partner, clean my house. You get stuck and you get sucked into that and stuck into that. And the weeks, months, I was going to say weeks, months, days. That doesn't make sense. Days, weeks, months, years go by, and you realize, I feel kind of directionless. I feel kind of like things are working, but where is the spark? Where is that juiciness? Where is the magic? Where is the depth? So deep is about giving yourself space for the deep rest that supports you creatively, supports you intuitively, supports you nervous system-wise, increases your capacity, increases your discipline, all of these things, as well as the deep workspace. So if you're interested in deep, go to chelseaquint.com/deep or head to description, head to show notes, and the link will be right there for you. Deep is a really amazing staycation retreat. You get to do it from wherever you want to have your staycation. You do not have to travel to me. And I get to send you lots of goodies to support your retreat process and facilitate everything for you. It's incredible. I'm actually, as I'm recording this, getting ready to self-facilitate my own deep retreat, because when I facilitate for you, I will not be able to be in my retreat moment. So I'm actually having my own deep retreat, staycation retreat this coming weekend, which I will be sharing with you on the socials. So if you are not following me at Chelsea Quint on Instagram, on TikTok, go there, hang out. Let's jam in those fun, silly, odd spaces. So my hope for you is not that you're going to feel like critical of yourself. It's not that you're going to beat yourself up now and be like, oh my God, I'm playing in the shallow end. But maybe just notice. And if you notice that and are like, I need help, get yourself in the deep retreat. That's the easiest solution. But if you want to explore this between now and then, start looking at your calendar and carve out time that is for thinking and ideating. Carve out time to write some of your content, to do some of your work, where you'll be able to write it, create a first draft, and then walk away. Where you'll have a day or two to walk away, and then you'll be able to come back. Start experimenting. That word is very carefully chosen. It's important. This is an experiment. But start experimenting with how you work best. Do you work best with one big content meeting? Do you work best with a more general strategy? And do you work really well with some content created, but some of it's sort of extemporaneous? Do you work really well in time chunking like an entire day? So Mondays are your content days, and Tuesdays are just creative free flow. I get to do whatever I want pleasure days. And the Wednesdays, like, there's not a one size fits all. The only sense that there's one size fits all, I'm using air quotes, is that structure and discipline are required for true artistry and mastery. That doesn't mean it can't be pleasurable. Discipline can be very pleasurable and very, I'm going to stop this conversation before I take it totally sideways. It can still be really enjoyable. You've just got to find the way that it works for you. So experiment. That's the invitation. Experiment with deeper space for your work. Experiment with moving out of the shallow end and a little bit into the deep end, toward the deep end of your gifts, and see how it goes for you. As you experiment, I would really, really love to hear from you. If this sode felt, it's what I'm calling episodes now apparently, if this sode felt alive, juicy, useful, please share it. Share it on your social medias. Share it with a friend who you think is playing in the shallow end of their gifts. Maybe a loving nudge in the direction of hey, I see how amazing you are, and I don't think you're sharing it as potently. Share it. Let me know your thoughts about it on Instagram or send me an email. And when you are ready to sign up for the deep retreat, we are coming toward the close of the enrollment period for the January 2023 retreat. So if you're deciding to look into it, do that now. Do that today. Save your spot so I can mail you your stuff and you'll have everything in time. And if you have any questions about deep work, the deep retreat, let me know. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for hanging. And I will talk to you soon.